Well, they run it very, very effectively. They are tops in the AFC, gaining 167 yards an outing as you get a good look there of Bill Kenney. First and 10, Kansas City. Play action, fumble. It's still loose, and I believe the Chargers have the football.
Recovered by the Chargers, number 79, Gary Johnson.
Phillies fans have something to cheer about now. It's number 79, Gary Big Hands Johnson. You can watch. Kenney's going to try to throw this ball out on a little quick screen, and there it is. Gary Johnson reaches his hand, knocks the ball away. Kenney is not in his forward motion, therefore it's a fumble. 79 goes for the football, tops out, and Gary Big Hands Johnson comes up with the recovery.
Great field position for San Diego. Fouts, near side, Chuck Muncie. And he dives ahead to the KC-43. Gary Spaney finally comes on him. A great D block by Doug Wilkerson. And let's take a look at the guys who make the offense go for the Chargers. Fouts, Capoletti, and Muncie will start today. The receivers, Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler, and Kellen Winslow. What a group of receivers. The line, Billy Shields, Doug Wilkerson, Don Masick, Ed White, and Big Roo, Russ Washington. 2nd and 3, the ball at the Kansas City 44.
Phil, when was the last time you saw a Statue of Liberty like that?
Not from the Chargers. In motion to the near side, it is James Brooks. And Fouts will put it up. Screen to Muncie. On his feet near the 30-yard line, it is Eric Harris who finally bumps him out. Let's set for you the way the Kansas City defense will go into this one. The defensive line, they play a 3-4. Art Still is back from an injury. Don Parrish will start at nose tackle. The right end is Mike Bell. The linebackers, Hall, Blanton, Gary Spaney, and Jackson. And the defensive backfield, Gary Green, Eric Harris, Gary Barbaro, and Lloyd Burris. 1st and 10, San Diego, Muncie in motion. Give, James Brooks. The rookie out of Auburn, Eric Harris, and Lloyd Burris combined to bring him down after 14 yards.
Bill, you'll notice something now. You have Brooks and Muncie in the same backfield. Two guys who can really motor. Number 21 gets a call this time and goes right up the middle and shows some nice power running here as he takes on number 26, Gary Barbaro, who may be the best tackling free safety in all of football. But Brooks puts his shoulder into him and gets another yard or two.
Another first down for San Diego at the 16. It is Muncie in motion, and Fouts wants to throw it. James Brooks, good move. He breaks 2 tackles, and he is out of bounds at the 8. Gary Barbaro, Gene, the guy you just spoke of, finally puts the hit on him.
Well, Barbaro made that final tackle, but number 51, Charles Jackson, had a real shot at Brooks, but Brooks just left him lying on the ground as he gave him a nifty move.
The Chargers now bringing in 2 tight ends, Kellen Winslow and Eric Seaver, number 85. As you take a look at James Brooks, looks like he's in for a little tune-up
repair.
Here come the Chargers. It is 2nd down, call it 3. The ball spotted at the 8-yard line. No score just underway here in San Diego. Muncie, sweep right. Look at Wilkerson out in front.
Bill, when you take a look at Doug Wilkerson, number 63, boy, did he have a good block. Probably the best pulling guard in all of football. Let's take a look. Did you see number 63 pull out there? He's a big guy, but he has some great speed. Once he gets the football, and he's waiting for Wilkerson to get out in front so he can set up a block. And look at that block right there. Ooh, and Barbaro comes up, knocks the other game.
Doug Wilkerson, 12-year man out of North Carolina Central. Chargers picked him up 11 years ago in a trade with Houston. Boy, has he been valuable. Out of the eye, it is first and goal at the 4. Kellen, Chuck Muncie has the ball. And they're going to roll. He was down short of the goal line. Gary Barbaro is there. The nose tackle, Don Parrish is there. And Dan Fouts shows you about how far away they are, about a yard. Kellen Winslow, 2nd and goal.
Winslow gave him that little double fake there, coming back out to help out on the blocking. And you'll see Muncie, he really gives a tremendous effort. Watch this. 1, 2, 3 guys hit him. There you can see his knee is down. That's a good call by the official. His knee is down on about the 2-yard line.
Chuck Muncie with 9 touchdowns so far this year. He is second in the AFC behind Denver's wide receiver Steve Watson. Second and goal from the 1. Kellen in motion. The give right over the top. And I think he is in. Yes, he is.
Still, if he's not in, they're going to have to reset that cannon. They let you know when there's a touchdown around here in San Diego. We take a look at Muncie gets that football. He just goes straight up in the air because he knows as soon as you break the plane of the goal line, it's a touchdown, whether he gets shoved back or not. That's 6 points.
What a great asset Chuck Muncie has been to this San Diego Charger team. As you take a look at the San Diego Pink Panther, you know what he has to do with the Chargers. Ralph Panushka is on to try and make it a 7-0 ball game. Ed Luther will put it down. It is up. It is perfect. So with 10 minutes, 19 seconds to play, the Chargers have drawn first blood, Gene.
As you mentioned before, Chuck Muncie's been such a great addition to this ball team. Not only is he a great runner, but he's also a fantastic receiver, and that's what the Chargers like to do. They like to throw the football.
So with 10:19 to play, we'll be back in just a moment. Take a look at it. The Chargers, after the fumble recovery, went 50 yards on 7 plays, capped by Chuck Muncie's 1-yard touchdown run. He now has 10 touchdowns this year. And Rolf Panushka puts his foot into the ball, a relatively short one, at the 10-yard line. Right up the middle, and he is hammered to the turf. That is James Murphy. Jim Laszlovic really leveled him. Get a good look at Marv Levy. What a job he has done, Gene.
He certainly has, and he's one of the outstanding gentlemen in the game of football. Very heady football player. A coach, that is. Maybe as a player, too.
Probably as a player. 10 minutes, 10 seconds to play here in the opening quarter at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. The Chargers have just taken a 7-0 lead. Henry Marshall is wide to the left. J.T. Smith wide right. The running backs Delaney and James Hadnot. From the 27, Kenney wants to put it in the air. Near side, it is the rookie. A flag is down, and he's across the 30-yard line. Lyndon King on the stop, but again, a flag is down.
Bill, where they throw that flag, it may be that they had a lineman downfield before Delaney actually. Oh, it's going to be holding. That's the initial indication.
Let's take a look at some other happenings around the NFL today. Cincinnati has defeated the Houston Oilers 34-21. The Jets over the Giants 26-7. That in the fourth quarter. And look at this one. Miami continues to thrash the Baltimore Colts 27-10. Let's listen.
68 defense, illegal use of the hands, first down.
Leroy Jones got caught holding that time. Look at that score. Buffalo 22-13 over Cleveland.
And another one, San Francisco. That'll put Gene Washington dancing in the aisles here.
What do you think they'll be doing in San Francisco?
Oh, boy. Tampa over Chicago. And look at this one. 41-10 Atlanta over the Saints. The Chiefs shifting into the eye. The running backs Delaney and Hadnot. First and 10. Flags go down. In the backfield. It is Delaney. Gary Johnson is there to hammer him.
But Phil, that's not quite fair because Gary Johnson was on the Chiefs' offensive side when the ball was snapped. He tried to freeze. He tried to hold it, but it was too late. You can see Louis Kelcher complaining, saying they drew him off. But look at this. You'll see Big Hands Johnson. He says, oh, trying to get back. Nope, too late.
Now, the guy who held his ground was Brad Buddy, the second-year man out of USC. He just let Johnson run right past him. But listen.
Lineman defense, offside, still first down.
Well, Kansas City moving the football as a result of San Diego miscues. It is now first and 5 at the 37. A final now. The Jets over the Giants. That one is history, 26-7. Quick snap. It is Delaney up the right side, still on his feet, still fighting. He cannot get away from Louis Kelcher.
Bill, as we take a look at number 37, Joe Delaney, as he gets up, he has the longest run in the NFL from scrimmage, 82 yards against Denver. And he has plenty of speed. As a matter of fact, he was on that winning 400-meter relay team in Northwest Louisiana.
Oh, he can motor. We saw him on the receiving end of a pass from Kenney against the Oakland Raiders a few weeks back in Oakland. He does a great job. It is James Hadnot across the right side. He'll be close to the first down. Leroy Jones shut it down. I believe, Gene, he will be a little short.
Bill, the Chiefs have been running to their right side, their offensive right, and against the Chargers on the left. But number 74, the perennial All-Pro, you'll see him stack it up in the middle. He takes him on. Louis Kelcher, look at that. He stands the guys right up, holds his ground. But when you have number 48, James Hadnot, coming at you, that's an awful lot of power coming in there. And he can usually gain that tough yard or two.
Let's take a look at this measurement. As I said, I thought it would be a little short. It's very, very little, about 4 inches. So that'll bring up a third down situation. The Chiefs have converted 46% of their third down opportunities this season. Now you take a look at Dan Fouts. 2 tight end situation for the Chiefs. Al Dixon is in. Willie Scott has just checked in. J.T. Smith will sit this one out. 3rd and 4, and listen to this crowd come alive. Right up the middle, I believe it is James Hadnot. It is Kenney, a keeper, and I believe he got the first down. Now you take a look at the rushing average thus far this year. The Chiefs tops in the AFC, averaging 167 yards an outing. But guys like Delaney, Hadnot, Billy Jackson, Curtis Bledsoe, it's not hard to understand why, Gene.
Well, you have those guys up front anchored by the center, number 58, Jack Rudney, who's been around longer than anyone, and he is really, truly an outstanding center.
1st and 10. The ball at the 43, Kansas City out of the eye. Play action. Kenney will put it in the air. Near side, it is the tight end, Al Dixon. And he is brought down by Bob Horn. Midfield strike.
Bill, one of the things that this offensive line does for Kansas City is that they block very well on the run. But you'll see in this situation, Louis Kelcher, they're going to make sure he doesn't get in there as he gets by the center a little bit, but he gets some help. They're double teaming him. They want to make sure that Louis Kelcher is not in on the action because he's a guy who can control that defensive line.
Bill Kenney, that was his first pass of the afternoon. He is now 1 for 1 for 7 yards. That is 2nd down and 3. In motion, it is J.T. Smith to the top of the screen. Near side, Delaney. And he cannot pin away from Pete Shaw, but he will make the first down. Delaney, 4 carries already today for 34 yards.
Well, against Oakland, they blitzed an awful lot. And what they wanted to do was to shut down the running game. They blitzed an awful lot, and they plugged the holes, and Delaney wasn't able to be as effective against Oakland. As a matter of fact, he went out of that ball game with bruised ribs. He said that one of the players kicked him in the ribs intentionally, and the film showed that it was an accident. But he's ready to go today.
Split out wide to the top of your screen. It is Henry Marshall on 1st and 10. Kenney will put it in the air, and he's caught. J.T. Smith with another first down at the San Diego 34.
Number 86, J.T. Smith, has such agility. He runs back to those punts, so he's not afraid to get into the action. As you'll see on this reception, he avoids the first defender, and he goes up right into the traffic and catches that football, and he knows that he's going to get banged. Look at that, 3 guys around him. But he is probably the toughest wide receiver around, and as I mentioned before, he also runs back punts, so he's not afraid to go into the action.
Both wide receivers, Henry Marshall, J.T. Smith to the near side. Pitch left side, Delaney. Joe Delaney is down to the Charger 15-yard line. Pete Shaw and Glenn Edwards combined to finally bring him down, but not before it is another KC first down.
Bill, you rely an awful lot on your linebackers when the player gets outside to get the pursuit, but as you'll see here, number 55, Bob Horn, gets cut off. There it is. That's Brad Buddy who's helping out. Good block from number 48, James Hadnot. Delaney turns on the speed. He beats Pete Shaw to the outside. And then he just takes on Glenn Edwards and gains another 2 or 3 yards.
A 19-yard pickup and a Kansas City first down. San Diego leads this one 7-0. Long count. Pitch far side. Hadnot. He will go nowhere. Woody Lowe, the first man to get to him, stops him for a loss of about 2.
Woody Lowe did an outstanding job of shedding the block. Number 37, Joe Delaney, tried to lead block on Woody Lowe, but he just shed him so easily, made the play.
Gene, Woody Lowe is not what you would call a tremendously gifted linebacker in terms of size. He's only 6 feet.
He's only 6 feet, but he has such quickness that he gets all over the football field and is very effective against the pass because he has such quick drops and can get in the way of that quarterback and receiver.
A nickel backfield for San Diego. Kenney will put it up right over the middle. He has got a man, and it is tight end Al Dixon. And he is brought down by Willie Buchanan.
Bill, number 84, Al Dixon, has just been an outstanding player for the Chiefs. They brought in several tight ends, and they thought they were going to replace him with some of the rookies, some of their high draft choices. But Al Dixon continues to keep his spot and continues to play well. Catches that ball and sees that he can't go any further, makes a wise decision, and gets down.
Here's an interesting contrast of the 24 touchdowns Kansas City has scored this year. 15 have come by passing. Yet they lead the AFC in rushing. 2 wide receivers, Marshall and Smith, wide left. Kenney will put it up on 3rd and 2. It is Smith, and he is brought down at the 3-yard line, but it is another Chiefs first down. They are moving the football, Gene.
They're playing with an awful lot of confidence. This team is very confident on offense, and something they haven't had in the last several years. But you see Kenney drop back, and J.T. Smith goes in motion, comes back across the middle, and as I mentioned before, he's a tough receiver. So when they want someone to come across the middle, they're going to look for J.T. Smith. He's not afraid to get in there and mix it up.
Kenney 4 for 4 today for 35 yards. A 1st and goal for Kansas City at the 3. Give left side, had not. Second effort. Touchdown, Kansas City.
You see Levy, he's firing his guys up, and they'll be fired up enough as it is. It's number 48. And when you said second effort, he was hit on about the 1-yard line, Phil. As you can see on this replay, he'll get hit on about the 1-yard line, but his second effort is what makes the touchdown.
Well, it is only James Hadnot's second TD of the season. He is not called upon a great deal in goal line situation, but look at the way he takes the hit, spins, and goes in backwards. Go in frontwards, you go in backwards. Either way, it's 6 points, and now it is Nick Lowry who will try to tie this ball game up. He is perfect in the extra point department. 24 of 24. It is down. He is now 25 of 25. We are tied. 3 minutes, 36 seconds to play here in San Diego in the first period. It is San Diego 7, the Kansas City Chiefs 7.
To help you buy a new car,
So the Kansas City Chiefs have just tied this one up, and as we talked earlier, Gene, this is a critical game for both teams.
Well, Phil, I think the pressure is really on San Diego. Sure, Kansas City wants to win this one. They'll be 2 out in front. But for San Diego, if they lose this ball game, they're in real trouble.
James Brooks from the 3. At great pursuit. He will get no further than the 10-yard line. Cal Peterson is there to bring him down. So San Diego will start deep in their own end as Dan Fouts comes on. Look at those statistics. Dan completing about 57% of his passes, 19 of them for touchdowns. He is 3rd in the AFC.
We mentioned before that Fouts had some problems last week against Chicago as they surprised everyone with that bump and run man-to-man defense. But I tell you, he'll be looking for anything like that today.
1st and 10, San Diego. First man is Chuck Muncie. He moves out near the 12-yard line, and he is stacked up. Bart Still is there to shut it down, and it is good to see the 6'8", 252-pound defensive end back in action, Gene.
Well, Phil, Still got hurt against this same ball club in their first meeting when he hurt his knee, and I saw him down in Kansas City a few weeks ago, and he said, I just can't wait to get back into the action. He is a dominating force at that defensive end, particularly in the 3-4 configuration. Big, strong player, and he will put on a good pass rush even from that 3-4 position where he's going to be head up with the tackle.
In motion, James Brooks to the bottom of your screen. Fouts will put it up on 2nd and 7. He swings it out. It was intended for Chuck Muncie, and Dan threw it about 3 yards behind him. That is the first incompletion of the day by either quarterback. Dan 2 of 3 for 19 yards. It'll be 3rd and 7 as you take a look at number 14. Chargers, incidentally, have converted 50% of their third down situations this year. Kansas City converting 46% of theirs. So we're talking about 2 third down ball clubs who know how to turn them into first downs. Wide receivers, 3 for San Diego. Chandler and Dwight Scales in the ball game now with Charlie Joyner. The lone setback is Chuck Muncie on 3rd and 7, and Dan will put it in the air. Far side, Scales out of bounds over his head. They're on Carey.
Phil, as we watch Dan Fouts trot off the field, he's lucky he was able to throw that football anyway, because you'll see number 67, the man we talked about before, Art Still, he really comes in and puts on a strong pass rush as he just shoves Russ Washington back. Look at this. He almost grabs Fouts, almost has it by the shoulder pads. Fouts just manages to get away and really sort of throws this football away because he knows his man doesn't have much room on the sidelines.
George Roberts is in to kick it away for San Diego. The first time the Chargers have had to punt today, and he'll get it off just about the goal line. And it's a good one. A high spiral. J.T. Smith will retake it at the 43. And he will not get further than the 46 as the flag goes down. A 43-yard punt, just a 3-yard return. The rookie tight end, Eric Sievers, for San Diego in on the stop. A flag is down way back at the 30-yard line.
I'll return to the 47-yard line. There is a penalty flag on the field.
Phil, regardless of what happens,
We have offsetting personal fouls during continuous action. 37, Kansas City. I'm sorry, correction. 37, San Diego. 23, Kansas City. The foul's offset. First down at the spot.
well, it's Hank Bauer.
It is Hank Bauer being whistled. And I believe the official had a wrong person there. There is no number 23 for the Chiefs. First quarter action. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Well, this is the way the fans get it done in Southern California on a football Sunday. 2 minutes, 29 seconds to play here in the first period. We are all tied. Kansas City with the football at their own 47. Near side, Delaney. And he'll be lucky to get back to the line, and he will get nowhere close to it. It is Bob Horn, the middle linebacker, who penetrates to dump Delaney for a 3-yard loss.
Phil, evidently the Chargers have figured out something, because Kansas City continues to run to their offensive right. They had been successful there before, but as you mentioned, number 55, Bob Horn, has shot through the gap, and he got Joe Delaney back there for a little loss.
I'll tell you, we are at a minute 57 of the first period. Delaney has already carried the ball 6 times for, listen to this, 51 yards. He was third in the AFC coming in with a 4.6 average. Wide receivers, Marshall and Smith. And Kenney will put it up all the time in the world. Now he's being chased. He gets it away. And the man he overthrows is number 48, Gene Padnott, at the 45-yard line. And I believe, Gene, he just threw it away.
Well, he threw that football away because what he wanted to do was get the ball out there on a screen play. But the Chargers were there. They dropped off. They read the play very well. There was no way he could get the ball ahead, not so he wisely threw it away.
A couple of changes for the San Diego Chargers on the defensive line. Jones and Kelcher are both out. Keith Ferguson, the rookie, and Jim Webb is in. Lining up beside Gary Johnson and John Woodcock. The Chargers with 5 defensive backs. 3 wide receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs. Stan Rome, J.T. Smith, and Henry Marshall. And Kenney on 3rd and long will put it in the air. He's got a man. Henry Marshall, and it was knocked away. The flag is down. Pete Shaw and Wyatt Henderson were there to put the hit on Marshall. And I believe number 87, Stan Rome, is signaling pass interference, and he's pointing at Mike Williams. Well, let's wait just a minute.
Holding. Illegal use of the hands on the defense. Well, that's a close call. That's a close call, but because when you get in that situation, the defender has as much right to the football as the offensive man.
Holding, 32 defense, first down.
But they claim that Wyatt Henderson grabbed a hold of the receiver. You can't do that at any time.
But I'll tell you, the San Diego Chargers have had problems with penalties so far in 1981. They are the second most penalized team in the AFC. That is the second time they have been penalized this year. The New York Jets with 63 penalties whistled against them. In motion, near side, Henry Marshall. And another flag will go down, and this play will be stopped in progress. And it'll have to be again against San Diego.
Bill, again, Gary Big Hands Johnson's was offside, but I can tell you for a fact that Bill Kenney is drawing them off with his voice inflection, because it has happened too many times, and you'll see more than one player jump. As we can see in this situation, there he is right in the middle. Bill Kenney is drawing them off, I'm sure, with his voice inflection, because it's happened too many times. But the defender's supposed to watch the football. He's not supposed to listen to the quarterback.
Not supposed to react to voice. 1st and 5, Kansas City at the San Diego 45. Counter, James Hadnot, left side running room. And he runs for the first down before Willie Buchanan comes up from his right cornerback spot to bring him down. Pickup of about 7 yards on the play. And Kansas City, Gene, continuing to move the football effectively today.
Well, a couple of years ago when the Chiefs were employing the wing T offense, people said, what are they doing? They're crazy. But I tell you what, it's paid off. Number 77, Charlie Getty, pulled from his right tackle, came back across the center and made a great block and just opened the way for number 48, James Hadnot. And that wing T offense has really paid off, and the run blocking especially for these offensive linemen.
Kenney pitch left side to Delaney. Walker's in front, and Delaney has got running room before being dragged out of bounds at the 30-yard line by Bobby Horn. Delaney, a second-round draft choice this year out of Northwest Louisiana. What a job this guy has done. 5'10", 184 pounds. I'll tell you, in college, he rushed for over 3,000 yards to erase the mark of another pretty good running back, a fellow by the name of Sidney Thornton.
Well, Joe Delaney had stepped in for an injured Ted McKnight, and since that time, he has just been fantastic. He had 3 straight games for over 100 yards. Very tough for a guy this size.
Al Dixon got up, missed the count. The Chargers reacted, and it'll be illegal procedure against KC.
Well, that's one of the risks that a quarterback runs. Listen to the call.
Ball start, 84 offense.
As I was going to say, that's one of the risks that a quarterback will run. Sometimes when he uses that voice inflection, he raises his voice on a snap count. That's false. Sometimes you get your own players to jump.
2nd down, 7 yards to go. The ball at the 36. Out of the eye. Long count, Kenney, second man. It is Delaney again. He tries to turn it inside. He'll get a couple, and the defensive line shuts it down. Gary Johnson and John Woodcock, the right side of that Charger defensive line.
There's Dan Fouts sitting on the sidelines. I'm sure he's anxious to get back in there and get some of those balls in the air. I admire Fouts an awful lot, because not only does he have a good arm, but he has a good sense of what's going on in the football game, and he's not afraid to put the football in the air anywhere on the field.
Now, Dan has always contended that the quarterback position is much more mental than it is physical. 3rd and 4, the ball at the 33. Kenney wants to put it up. Pressure! The ball popped loose. The official had blown it down. Referee Gene Barth said, no way. His forward progress was stopped. It'll be a 4th down situation, a punting situation for Kansas City.
Well, Bill, oftentimes as we take a look at the Chargers secondary, you'll see that they go into man-to-man coverage, and they're going to double-team number 86, J.T. Smith, as he comes up through the middle. And what happens if you get good coverage downfield, it allows those linemen to get back to the quarterback. If he hesitates, you'll end up with a sack.
So that's the end of the first quarter of play. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. We are tied at 7-all. Well, as we told you at the top of this telecast, we expected quite an offensive display, and Gene, so far in the first period, we have seen it.
Well, Bill Kenney continues to play exceptional football, and he is so cool for a third-year quarterback that it's amazing.
It is 4th down 14. Kansas City will kick it away. It is Bob Rupp. And pressure, but he gets it away. And James Brooks will let it go. Will it make it in? Yes, it will. Herb Christopher was there and almost caught up with it. A 42-yard punt. San Diego will have the football at the 20-yard line when we come back. 14:48 to play. There you get a good indication of the intensity registered on the face of Charger head coach Don Coryell as his football team has the ball. 1st and 10 at the 20. Fouts. Swing pass, James Brooks. And it's a first down for San Diego across the 30 before Eric Harris brings him down.
Number 44, Eric Harris.
Bill, James Brooks reminds me an awful lot of Delaney when he gets out on that open field. Both of these guys are not very big, but when they get out there, they turn on the speed, and they're both very physical football players. They'll run right in there and deliver blows, not just take them.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Both runners like to initially start runs inside and then break them to the outside. They have tremendous breakaway speed. 1st and 10. Kellen Winslow in motion to give it to Chuck Muncie, who tries the left side. He runs for about 3 before Charles Jackson comes up to trip him.
Bill, it's tough to make a living running the football against the Chiefs' defense. They employ that 3-4 defense, and they have those 4 linebackers back there. And that's their job, is to make the tackles. And they, as a matter of fact, they're right at the top against the run. And they have 3 big guys down in front with Parrish, Art Still, and Mike Bell. And they take on those linemen, and they allow their linebackers to make the tackles. And they have great pursuit, particularly Gary Spaney.
2nd and 6. Swing past Muncie. It is tipped at the line there. I believe it was number 74, Dino Mangiero. Yes, it was. And the ball drops harmlessly to the ground. It'll be 3rd and 6. Boy, take a look at Mangiero.
Number 74, Dino Mangiero, who's just come back off the reserve list. He'd been injured for a while. You can see that he takes on the offensive man pretty good, gets his hand up, and just tips the ball away. And look at this reaction. You think he's happy to be back?
I told Bob Springer, the Kansas City Chiefs publicity director, yesterday, Dino Mangiero sounded more like a lead singer of a rock group than a defensive end. It is 3rd and 6, and San Diego will call a timeout. So 13:29 to play in the first half. We'll be back in just a moment. Bill Stone and Gene Washington. It's San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. The Chargers with a 3rd and 7 situation, and Kansas City will go with a 4-man defensive front, 2 linebackers and 5 defensive backs. The Chargers will counter with 3 wide receivers. Dan Fouts is looking deep, comes near side and overthrows the tight end, number 80, Kellen Winslow. And it's a kicking situation for the Chargers.
Well, the Chiefs had good coverage. Number 53, Whitney Paul, as you can see the Chiefs backing up into their zone defense. They're playing the underneath men, man-to-man, and Whitney Paul, number 3, is guarding number 80, Kellen Winslow. And Fouts really had no place to throw the football, at least for a completion anyway, so he just let it out in front so that anyone caught it, it would have been Winslow, but it was just a little too far.
George Roberts is in to kick it away for the 2nd time. Averaging 42 yards a punt. The Chiefs showed a 10-man rush, and they did not bring him. J.T. Smith with the football, and he will get nowhere. He breaks 1 tackle. Hank Bauer is there to initially grab him. He sprung out of that tackle, but got nowhere. So Kansas City will start from the 32. We'll be back with more second quarter score in just a moment.
There's big number 99, Mike Bell, who has injured his ankle, and they're going to keep him out for a while and see if it's better, because they want to get him back into the game. But number 74, Dino Mangiero, has taken his place.
Kansas City with the football at their own 32, 1st and 10. And Kenney wants to put it up. Crossing pattern, and he has got J.T. Smith a first down out around the 48-yard line. Willie Buchanan brings him down. And had Willie not been there, nothing but real estate ahead of him. Take a look at a few scores. 4th quarter, Green Bay over Seattle, 28-24. New England and Oakland, 3-all in the 2nd period. Look at this one, 2nd quarter, goose eggs at Philadelphia, Dallas and the Eagles. Detroit over Los Angeles 10-7 in the second period. Washington leading St. Louis. Here it is 1st and 10, Kansas City at the 48. Play action. Kenney roll right, wants to come back left. Watch this one develop. Al Dixon, the tight end, on a little razzle-dazzle, a first down at the San Diego 37-yard line.
So the Chiefs, who are known primarily as a running team, they're really pulling out all of the stops. As you'll see Bill Kenney give a little play-action fake, faking the sweep. Then he rolls out to his right, setting up the screen to his tight end, number 84, Al Dixon, who manages to break a tackle right here. Gets downfield for a few more yards.
A 14-yard pickup for Kansas City. Moves the ball to the San Diego 37, and the Chiefs have moved the football very, very well thus far in the first half. First man, it is Hadnot across the left side. Pickup of about 4. Gary Big Hands Johnson is there to bring him down. Boy, what a game Gary Johnson had against Kansas City in the 3rd week of the season. He had a touchdown in that ball game. He was one happy individual.
So you can see that Johnson is wearing that neck brace. He's had some problems with a pinched nerve and has had to go in and out of several ball games. I talked to some of the Chiefs players at the hotel yesterday, and they said what they want to do on offense is they want to control the football because they don't want San Diego to have that football on offense because they know how lethal they are.
Billy Jackson, possibly a yard. Lyndon King was there to shut it off. 10 minutes, 57 seconds to play. In the second quarter here in San Diego, we are tied 7-7. Oh, I'll tell you, the first go-around between these two ball clubs was one phenomenal afternoon in Kansas City. Talk about freewheeling football. Running backs, James Hadnot and Curtis Bledsoe now for Kansas City. 3 wide receivers for the Chiefs on 3rd and 4. A flag is down. Square pass to the right side. It is J.T. Smith. You heard the whistles. The play will not stand. That has to be somewhat disconcerting, I would think, Gene, when a whistle sounds.
False start, number 60 offense.
And the play continues.
Bill, that penalty was against number 60, Matt Herkenhoff, who's a very strong tackle. You can see Gary Johnson fights his way through the block of Brad Buddy. Manages to get through there and get to the quarterback, although a little bit late. But if you're a quarterback weighing about 195, how would you like to have Gary bearing down on you? And you know he's going to hit you.
I would not like to spend a Sunday afternoon with 252 pounds sitting on my head. 3rd and 8. Kansas City, a passing situation. Kenney. The first man there was Lyndon King. He threw him off balance, and a rookie, Keith Ferguson, just smothered him.
Well, in this situation, the Chargers decided to bring a few people, and they brought their linebacker, number 57, Lyndon King. As you can see, he jumps over the block. Look at that effort. He jumps over the block by number 48, James Hadnot, and comes right down on the quarterback.
That's the second sack of the day for the Chargers defensive line. And that took Kansas City right out of field goal range. Bob Bruck will kick it away. All the time in the world, he's going to angle it for the near side. James Brooks will not have a chance to return it. It is out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. So when we come back, San Diego will have the football at the 18. We'll be back in just a moment. Kansas City and San Diego, we are tied with 9:47 to play in the first half. The Chiefs with 13 first downs. San Diego with just 5. Look at that one. Dallas leading the Eagles 3-0. And here come the Chargers. Wide receivers, Chandler, Joyner, the tight end, Winslow, and Fouts will put it in the air. Near side, James Brooks. Oh, did he put a move on the inside linebacker, Jerry Blanton. That little stutter step ought to be outlawed, Gene. That can really make you look bad.
These guys run like water bugs when they get out there. Delaney and Brooks, and you'll see him catch this little screen pass. As you mentioned before, he puts some moves. Look at that. Left, right, left, get back inside. Kellen Winslow comes over and helps out on Jerry Blanton.
It is 2nd and 3. The ball at the 25. In motion, Muncy to the top of your screen. Fouts swings it to Brooks. Again, a nice move on the same man, Jerry Blanton. And he'll get back to just about the line of scrimmage. Art Still, 6'8", 252. Bearing down on a guy that's only 5'9".
Art Still. Pick up of 1 yard.
Another score, Washington leading the St. Louis Cardinals 21-0. That one in the second quarter.
Bill, the Chiefs normally will get their linebackers in deep drops on passing situations, and I know that the Chargers wanted to throw the ball underneath. That's what they're trying to do now, but those linebackers are not getting the deep drops because once those receivers catch the ball, they're right up there to make a stop.
3rd and 2, near side, Winslow. That is the first 3rd down conversion the Chargers have made today.
We take a look at Kellen Winslow. Whitney Paul gets fooled. You can see him. He gets picked off a little bit there. Winslow gets out, gets the football, and no one's within 2 or 3 yards of him when he catches the ball. And there was a nice little screen play that you'll oftentimes see in basketball, and that's what they did to 53 Whitney Paul. They just screened him off.
Well, that is the Chargers' 180th first down of the season. You want to know how much they rely on their air game? 109 of those have come via the aerial routes. Up the middle, it is Chuck Muncy. Boy, the old quick opener across the 40-yard line. Blanton and Spaney and Don Parrish were there combined to bring him down.
But number 62, the center, Don Masick, Doug Wilkerson, and Ed White, they moved the line of scrimmage about 3 yards downfield because if Muncy got the football, he ran straight ahead for about 4 yards before he encountered anyone.
Muncy, 7 carries, 25 yards, and the only San Diego touchdown thus far today. The lone running back is Chuck Muncy. The wide receivers, Chandler, Joyner, and Fouts wants to put it up on 2nd and 5. All the time in the world to his tight end, Winslow. It is knocked away, and we will have to wait and see. Are they going to roll it? It is recovered by Eric Harris. Takes it Gary Green, number 24.
Well, the rule is if the receiver has control of the football and he loses it, it's a fumble. I think it was obvious that Winslow did have control of the football. If we take a look at this replay, you'll see that he catches the football and he tries to run. Fouts is looking for a little quick jump to the right, comes back to the middle. Winslow catches the football. Now he has control of the football. Oh, wait a minute. I stand corrected. He was gobbling that football. The unfortunate thing is that the officials don't have the use of the replay.
Now you can hear these fans. They don't like it. From the eye, Delaney and Billy Jackson. Delaney will try the right side. And he turns the corner. He'll pick up about 6 yards on the play. Let's take a look at that play again. A real critical play for San Diego.
Well, Phil, initially, as I said, I thought he had control of the football. From up here, it looked that way. But as you see in this replay, look, he's bobbling the football. It's going from his chest to his hands, and then it goes out again.
It should have been whistled an incompletion. Now the Kansas City Chiefs are great at forcing turnovers. They forced 6 of them last week against the Oakland Raiders. They know something about knocking the football loose. Henry Marshall wide out to the bottom of your screen. J.T. Smith to the top. It is 2nd and 4. Delaney. Oh, Convene Motor. A first down at the San Diego 30. Lyndon King is there to stop him.
You said it. He accelerates as quick as anyone. You'll see they give a little misdirection. He comes back to his right. Brad Buddy pulls, leaves the interference. He gets in. There's a hole 3 or 4 yards wide. If he doesn't stumble, he might run another 10 yards or so.
Lyndon King has come out of the ball game. Jim Laslovic is in. So the linebacking core, Horn, Lowe, and Laslovic. Delaney, 10 completions for 76 yards. Delaney around the left side. And he'll pick up about 2 yards. He is to the Charger 28-yard line.
Bill, the Chiefs continue to keep the football on offense. That's what they said they wanted to do. They want to control the ball on offense, eat up the clock, but they know that they have to score. They're not going to just try to keep the football and not score, but they want to keep the ball away from Dan Fouts. And they're doing a pretty good job of it.
Well, it's the same thing the Chicago Bears did last week at Soldier Field. They kept the football away from the Chargers, and when you don't have it, you cannot put points on the board. Second down and 8, the ball at the 28. Long count by Kenney, fumble. John Woodcock has the football, the second fumble recovery for the Chargers here today. So, a big break for San Diego, 6:42 to play in the first half. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, the Chiefs have now tied New England for the most turnovers in the AFC with 29. As you can see, Bill Kenney pulls out from underneath the center, Jack Rudney, a little too early. The result is the football ends up on the ground, and San Diego has it.
Indeed they do, and Chuck Muncie has it right now, and he picks up about 6 yards on the play before the strong safety, number 34, Lloyd Burris, dumps him out of bounds. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. Question about how the fans here in San Diego feel about number 14, Dan Fouts. Second down, 3 yards to go. The ball spotted at the 37. And Dan will put it in the air right over the middle. Wide open, Early Joyner.
Gary Barbaro is right there to make the stop. Delivers a good blow, but Charlie Joyner doesn't go down. He just bounces back. And he outruns these guys for a little bit to pick up some more yardage. Number 18, Charlie Joyner, fantastic receiver. The professor, they call him.
A pickup of 29 yards and a first down at the KC 35. Play action. Dan rolling left at the Winslow. And he will not get by Charles Jackson. Let's take another look at the tackle he broke. Gary Barbaro had looked at him.
Well, Gary Barbaro, as I mentioned before, may be the best tackling free safety in all of football, although he didn't look like it on that play. Look at Joyner, 749 yards already before that catch.
And with that catch, 780 yards, and that is tops in the National Football League. And that man, number 18, is 34 years young. Second down, call it 11, and Dan wants to put it up again. Double pump, crossing pattern to the rookie. Eric Seaver still on his feet to the Kansas City 3.
Bill, there's number 85, Eric Seavers, and you'll see Dan Fouts as he drops back. Kansas City goes into a zone defense. That leaves some open seams. Fouts fakes to his right, comes right back to the middle to number 85, Eric Seavers, and he catches the football right in the middle of the zone, right between that 57, Jerry Blatton is coming in. Fouts got that football right in the seam.
James Brooks comes out and pick up a 31 yards. Clarence Williams is in. The running backs now, Clarence Williams and Chuck Muncie. Winslow starts right, fakes left, comes back to the right to give us a Muncie. Because there were two Chiefs right there, and he just ran right through them.
Gary Green, and I believe it was Jerry Blatton there. But Munson said, this is going to be 6 points, fellas.
Luther puts it down. Banushka puts it up. And it is no good. Wide to the right. So it is 13-7 San Diego with 4 minutes, 10 seconds to play in the first half. We'll be back at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium in just a moment. Minutes, 10 seconds to play in the first half here in San Diego, and that missed extra point by Rolf Banushka is his 3rd missed extra point this year, and he kicks it away. It is James Murphy at the 12. And the man to bring him down is Ronnie Smith. So Kansas City will start from their own 23-yard line. They trail this ball game 13-7. As you take a look at the scoring drive, 5 plays covering 71 yards. The big one to Charlie Joyner. And another impressive play, a 31-yarder to the tight end, the rookie out of Maryland, Eric Sievers. First and 10, Kansas City. Wide receivers, Henry Marshall to the bottom of your screen. J.T. Smith to the top, and Bill Kenney wants to put it in the air. A little screen pass to Delaney. I don't think that one fooled anybody.
No, it didn't. But Joe Delaney, who may be the smallest man on the football field, ended up with the 2 biggest guys on the football field, Gary Johnson and Louis Kelcher, all over him, and it looked like they tried to put him through the turf. Here's the head coach, Don Coryell. Sure, he's happy about the way things are going so far.
Bill Kenney leads them out. Kenney 7 of 8 for 61 yards. He's been sacked twice thus far this afternoon. 2nd and 15. In motion, Smith, near side. Give Kenney, should say Delaney, right side. And again, it fools no one. Jimmy Webb is there to bring him down.
Number 61, Jimmy Webb, who's come into play. I played with him out at San Francisco. A very good defensive tackle, has good quickness. You'll see on this replay, as you said before, the Chargers really aren't fooled.
I want to apologize for that technical miscue right there. 3rd down and 14 for Kansas City. KC has won 3 in a row. But oddly enough, they've lost the last 5 to San Diego. You've got to go all the way back to 1978 to find a Chiefs victory. Kenney, lots of time, throws it. And intended receiver was J.T. Smith. No flags are down, and it's a punting situation for Kansas City. Allen Ellis was there to knock it away.
Kenney threw the football behind his intended receiver, but as you said, number 48, Allen Ellis, who broke his cheek last week in Chicago, surprisingly enough, is out there playing football today. And the Chargers had acquired Ellis from Chicago about 2 weeks ago.
Bob Rupp is in to kick it away for the 3rd time today. He's averaging about 35 yards a kick today. James Brooks is back to receive it. No pressure at all, and it is not a good kick. Brooks will let it bounce at the 48. And it gets a Kansas City roll. And let's see what they're going to call it. I believe it hit a Charger.
Bill, I think it did too.
Hit him on the back. It hit Irvin Phillips at the 44. And I believe they're going to give the football to Kansas City. Yes, they are. And it's a good call by the officials. A 39-yard punt. And, Gene, you have to wonder what Irvin Phillips was doing anywhere near that football.
Bill, it was a very strange situation. It looked as though number 23, Irvin Phillips, was trying to bat the football, which seemed awfully strange. You'll see him coming in here. Well, it hits him in the leg. Actually, I think he was trying to get down to avoid getting hit.
I think he was trying to throw a block. Let's take a look at it again. Oh, right here he is on the left side.
He got blocked. That's what happened. He was running downfield, and someone blindsided him, and he ended up in the wrong place.
Delaney will try the left side. And he'll gain about a yard on the play. I want to mention that it was really not Irvin Phillips' fault. He was blocked into the ball. He was merely rolling uncontrollably. The ball happened to hit his leg. It is a classic case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well, that's exactly right. As you said, he doesn't see the football. It bounces right off of his knee. And there are 3 Kansas City guys around, and they alertly pounce on the football.
2nd and 9 for Kansas City. 2 minutes, 16 seconds to play in the first half. San Diego 13, the Chiefs 7. 2nd and 9. From the 40, Kenney will put it up. Lots of time. Goes right over the middle. The intended receiver was Willie Scott, and a flag goes down. Bill Edwards doesn't like the call.
Bill, I'm sure it's going to be pass interference against number 27, Glenn Edwards, whom the Chargers just brought back. They just picked him up.
Oh, hold on a minute. They may call it against Kansas City. At least that's what several of the Chargers are believing. And the Chiefs are walking backwards. Now you cannot hear it. The call was against the backup tight end, Willie Scott, for whom that pass was intended.
Well, that's a very controversial call anytime you have pass interference. But they decided number 81, Willie Scott, was the man guilty. You can see that number 27, Glenn Edwards, is saying, I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything. That's usually the call. And this time he was borne out that he was right.
J.T. Smith to the top of your screen. It is 2nd down and 19 at midfield. Kenney with time. And the intended receiver, the running back, Joe Delaney. It was overthrown out of bounds. Glenn Edwards on the cover.
Bill, as we take a look at this pass interference that I had mentioned before, the Chargers have brought number 27, Glenn Edwards, back. After they cut him in preseason, they had some problems in their defensive secondary and felt that they need a veteran, and they brought this man back, who's sort of a spiritual leader in this ball club. Very active guy, gives a lot of support to the younger players. And you can see again, he said, that wasn't against me. And he's right.
Bill Kenney, 7 of 10 thus far this afternoon for 60 yards. Kansas City, 1 of 4 in the third down department. Play action, Kenney rolling left. And he is not goes down. You could see it. The great camera work was right on top of that play. They ruled Kenney intentionally grounded the football.
And he wisely did, because number 76, Keith Ferguson, was right on him when he was about to tackle him. He had one of his receivers in the area. Number 37, Joe Delaney, was there, but he wasn't even looking for the football. And I think Kenney made a wise decision. Get rid of it. Take your chances. He took his chances, but he came up short. The official decided that he threw the ball away.
So we have reached the 2-minute mark of the first half. Kansas City will kick it away. San Diego will have the football again. They already have the lead, 13-7. We'll be back in just a moment. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. And the man who made that announcement right there, number 24, Gary Green. Camera taking picture of camera. 2 minutes remaining here in the second quarter at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium, as the Chiefs will get set to kick it away as soon as the officials are all set to get things rolling again. James Brooks is back deep to receive it for San Diego. There you see the score. Not quite the offensive explosion we saw 6 weeks ago at Arrowhead Stadium, but there has been a lot of movement today. Bill, you take a look at Bob Drupp, averaging about 40 yards.
Drupp has had his problems. As a matter of fact, the Chiefs brought in several punters to take a look, but they decided to stay with number 1, Bob Drupp. He had done so well in previous years, but this year he just hasn't done as well.
Glenn Edwards with the fair catch. And let's take a look and see what happened. The Chargers will have the football at the 34-yard line. 34-yard kick, a 2-yard return by Mr. Edwards. Next Sunday, join host Bryant Gumbel for another edition of NFL 81. All the highlight scores and late-breaking news from all the games Then an NFL doubleheader featuring 3 key matchups. Oakland versus Houston. Cincinnati takes on San Diego, and Cleveland meets Denver. Check your local listings for the games and times in your area next Sunday on NFL 81. First and 10, San Diego. Fouts fakes left, comes back to the right. Muncy. And he'll pick up about 5 yards on the play before he scoots out of bounds with Jerry Blanton in pursuit.
Bill, again, the Chiefs linebackers are not dropping deep when the Chargers show pass. They're trying to stay a little close, so when Fouts swings that ball outside to one of his backs, they're not going to be 4 or 5 yards back and have to come up and try to make the tackle. And when you have to come up and try to make a tackle on someone as quick as James Brooks, oftentimes you're going to miss. So those linebackers are playing a little closer to the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 6. The ball spotted on the 37. One man jumps. That is Art Still. 3 down for San Diego. And it is the number 86, Wes Chandler. And it is incomplete as he cannot hold on, but we have a flag down back at the 42-yard line. An incomplete pass. Dan, I think, knew, Gene, he had a free down there with Art Still jumping.
Chandler had that ball for a moment. As he hit the turf, I think it popped loose.
It is against number 67, the big defensive end, 6'8", 252, fourth-year man out of Kentucky, Art Still. That's the 5th penalty against Kansas City. It'll now be 2nd and 1 instead of 2nd and 6. 1:40 to play in the first half. Fouts will put it up. Lots of time. James Brooks. He'll just take it out of bounds with the Kansas City 38 to stop the clock. A smart move by Brooks. Get that clock stopped, preserve the timeout.
That's an excellent move, but that's an example of what I was talking about before. Fouts had his wide receivers, including Kellen Winslow, who was split out to the left, go deep downfield, and that allowed those linebackers to get back in their drops. He got the ball out to Brooks underneath, and Brooks just simply outran number 59, Gary Spaney, to the sideline.
A pickup of 19. The Chargers averaging 295 yards through the air. That's tops in the AFC. Boy, do they get it done through the airways. First and 10, San Diego. Swing pass, Muncy, left side. And he just ran right through Eric Harris.
Chuck Muncy has been doing this all game long. He is not going to be brought down by one man as he gets the ball out in the flat on the quick screen. You can see that the guards get out in front, and he just runs right through 2 blocks right there. And he is running with some determination today on that scoring down, that touchdown he ran through 2 or 3 players.
Now you take a look at Dan Fouts as the Chargers call a timeout. San Diego has 1 left with 1:20 to play in the first half. Look at those statistics. 13 of 18 for 150 yards in stark contrast to what he did last week against Chicago. You wonder, we talked at the top of the telecast, Gene, about the success the Bears had against San Diego playing with 5 defensive backs. And you have to wonder why the Chiefs are not playing more nickel defense today.
Well, I think when the Chiefs get in a 2nd and long situation or an obvious passing situation, 3rd long, they're going to come with their nickel back. In the game they played before in Kansas City, the Chargers jumped way out in front in the first half. The second half, the Chiefs came with their nickel 5 backs, and they really shut the Chargers down. In Chicago last week, they played a lot of bump and run, and it threw off the timing between Fouts and his receivers, and they were effective. But the Chiefs like to play with their 3-4. They like to be somewhat traditional. They want those 4 linebackers in there as much as possible because they want to shut down the run. But when they get in an obvious passing situation, they'll bring in usually number 20, Deron Cherry.
Well, they are excellent against the run, the Chief defense, first in the AFC, but against the pass, they are 12th. Here we go. 1:20 to play in the first half. San Diego trying to put more on the board. In motion, Wes Chandler to the top of your screen. And Dan wants to put it in the air once more. He's going for it. James Brooks. And it is picked off by Whitney Paul, but the officials say no. He came down out of bounds.
Well, Whitney Paul came up with that football, but he was out of bounds. Fouts tried to throw it over his head, and you get a nice shot of the secondary as they're all sitting back there waiting. And there it is. Brooks beats him for a while, but Whitney Paul turns around, goes up, catches the football at his highest point, but you'll see he lands out of bounds.
Well, that's a play that Dan Fouts used to love to throw to John Jefferson. Just kind of slow him up, put it up in the air, and have J.J. run right underneath it. 2nd and 10. Fouts, crossing pattern. He has got Winslow at the 10. Gary Barbaro brings it down, but not before San Diego has another first down. Boy, Dan Fouts has all the time in the world to unload the football, Gene.
This is a beautifully executed play. As you can see the two men crossing there. He throws the football to Winslow, but Joyner was going to cross from the other side.
And a hurry-up play by Dan. The intended receiver was Wes Chandler, and Dan wisely threw it away. 47 seconds to play. That stops the clock.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see that same play that Winslow caught the football on before, but next time he may go to number 18, Charlie Joyner, because when he crossed, he came open on the left side of the end zone.
Dan Fouts, 14 of 21 for 162 yards. Kansas City, playing the three-man front, does not get a lot of pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They only have 14 sacks all year. That's the 4th least in the AFC. 2nd and 10 at the 11. Dan, crossing pattern. And it is flag goes down. Dan is on his back at the 19.
Fouts got an awful lot of pressure as the Chiefs brought their linebackers. They held in. Charlie Joyner trying to help out, but Jerry Blenton got through there and put the pressure.
Okay, we'll have to read a few lips for you. Gene Barrett said the ball was tipped, no foul.
If the offensive player tips the football, once he touches it, then all interference is off. And I'm sure that's what happened in this situation. As we take a look on the end zone, and you can see Fouts, the offensive man, the defensive man, number 51, Charles Jackson, was the man who tipped it. And he's doing something that the Chiefs haven't done a lot, and that they're bringing their linebackers, instead of playing man-to-man, they're dropping them right back into the middle.
Wes Chandler in motion to the top. 3rd and 10. Fouts scrambling out of the pocket now. Pressure. Dan unloads it. Kellen Winslow had a shot at it. Gary Barbaro had his mitts on it also as Dan goes down again. That'll bring on Ralph Panerska to try and add 3 more to the Charger lead.
Fouts did a good job of getting away from big number 67, Art Still. Managed to throw the football in the end zone. But Gary Barbaro is right there in front to knock it away.
This is Ralph Panerska's first attempt from between the 20 and 29-yard line. He is 8 of 12 overall. It is down. It's got plenty of distance. And it has the direction. No, Ralph Panerska has given San Diego 3 more. They now lead this ball game 16-7. Now this game, Gene, is starting out much the same situation they had at Arrowhead 6 weeks ago.
Well, we'll see if the Chiefs decide to change their pass coverage and go to the nickel, which was effective with them before. This game has really turned out to be who gets the turnover. That both teams are turning the football over in key situations, giving up good field position.
Let's take a listen to how this capacity crowd, the 24th in a row here in San Diego, celebrates when their Chargers perform. Panerska is set to kick it away for the Chargers, and Kansas City will have 30 seconds to try and do something with it. It's a squibber, and it'll go through to the 12-yard line. It is Curtis Bledsoe. He's across the 20, out near the 30, loses the football. And I believe the Charger has recovered.
disagreement, though, between the officials. One official was ruling that the ball was down.
Oh, another turnover. Kansas City's third this afternoon. Ryan Henderson covered it. And I'll tell you, Gene, that's something Curtis Bledsoe just did not want to do today. This is where he played his college ball, right here in the same stadium for the San Diego State Aztecs. So the Chargers have the football once more with 19 seconds to play. And don't you know, number 14, Mr. Dan Fouts, will put that ball through the airways again.
Bill, before I mentioned that Charlie Joyner was open on a crossing play before where he had Winslow and Joyner crossing. They may come back to that again.
First and 10. Fouts to Chandler. The guy who provided the Chargers with the football, number 30, Curtis Bledsoe. A first down for San Diego inside the 10-yard line. And they'll have 8 seconds to try and get the job done. Boy, don't you know he feels terrible.
Well, I'm sure he does, because in that situation, the one thing you want to do is hold on to the football. And he was running through there, had the football out a little bit. You can't do that in that situation. You always have to be aware of what the situation is in the game.
Now let's take a look at this last completion to Wes Chandler. What an addition he has been to this San Diego Charger ball club.
Well, as I thought they were going to be running crossing patterns, this is a good situation for it. And there's number 86, Wes Chandler. He uses that outstanding speed once he catches the football. He probably runs better with the football after the catch than any receiver on this team, and maybe any of the receivers around the league. Very fast and very strong. It's going to take a little while for he and Dan Fouts to connect. Having been a receiver, you just don't walk into a situation with a quarterback and have everything going for you. But after another 3 or 4 weeks, these two guys are going to be real trouble for people. Fouts is 15 out of 23 for 185 yards already.
And listen to this crowd come to life with 8 seconds to play in the first half. San Diego is knocking again. Winslow. And the flag is down. It is Lloyd Burris, and he knows it. I think they're going to call it for pass interference. And Dan Fouts does too. 3 seconds to play. The Chargers will have a first and goal at the 1. And it is pass interference against Burris. Now you've got a real dilemma. Do you go for the touchdown? You got time for one play, or do you bring Rolf Inertia in and get a sure chip shot?
Well, Fouts gets the football up in the air, and Burris knows that he's at a disadvantage of Dylan Winslow, who's about 3 inches taller, and he does about the only thing he can do. He just goes up and starts fighting. If he doesn't do that, it's going to be a touchdown anyway.
Now Rolf Inertia is on. He will try and add 3 more. It is 16-7. 3 seconds to play before intermission. It is down. Ball, and he drives it deep. At the 4, it is Ronnie Smith. And he is bumped down at the 22-yard line. And that's where San Diego will begin. Curtis Bledsoe in on the top. Now you take a look at Dan Fouts as he tries to rally his troops. And I'll tell you, I think it's very, very important, Gene, that a quarterback of Dan Fouts' caliber, when he has the kind of game he had last Sunday, is able to come back and have a big game a week later.
Well, everyone has a tremendous amount of confidence in this quarterback, particularly his receivers. So there's no problem with that.
First and 10, counter near side, James Brooks. And he dives across the 25-yard line. He'll pick up 3, maybe 4. Whitney Paul is there to trip him up. We've talked all day long about just how important this game is, particularly for the San Diego Chargers. They are 1 game behind Kansas City. Denver is also just a game behind. The Broncos playing the Vikings tomorrow night. And you can bet the Broncs are watching the progress of this ball game. 2nd and 5. The ball at the 28. Winslow in motion to give is to Brooks. And he's tipped up across the 30-yard line. He'll be close to the first down. Gary Barbaro moves up from his free safety spot to bring him down. And they're going to stop the clock
Charles Jackson.
for a measurement. Awfully close to the first down. I believe he's a little short.
Barbaro came up to make the final stop, but number 51, Charles Jackson, was the man that tripped up James Brooks. Had Jackson not been in the way, I think Brooks would have given Barbaro a move, and he'd still be running.
That's about a foot short. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Diego Chargers and the NFL is prohibited. Brooks has come out. Clarence Williams, number 40, has gone in. It is Williams and Muncie, the running backs. Brooks sits down for a rest. He's 3 carries for 25 yards thus far today. Muncie. And the ball is knocked away, and it is knocked out of bounds. Lloyd Burris was there. Jerry Blanton had a horse collar on him. It is good for the first down. A good pickup for Muncie. Out to the 48-yard line.
I mentioned before that not only is Chuck Muncie a good runner, but he's an excellent receiver, and he's playing with the cast on his left hand. You can see there is heavily bandaged as he fractured his hand in 2 places, but he's such a good receiver that he can still manage to get a hold of that football. Nice play action on the part of Dan Fouts, holding those linebackers and getting the ball outside to Muncie.
Fouts. The joiner, and it is knocked away. Now let's see what the officials say. They're blowing the whistle, and they're going to call it a fumble. The second time today. Ken Kramer comes away with it, and Dan Fouts cannot believe it again.
Fouts is arguing with the official. The first time this happened, initially I thought that the receiver had control of the football. I think he had it again. I was proven to be wrong the first time, but let's take a look at this replay. We have the advantage of the replay, so we'll get a good look. But it appears as though the receiver had the football, even though he had not come down. There. He has control of the football.
Absolutely. He put her away. A good call by the officials. It is first and 10, Kansas City. That is San Diego's 3rd turnover today. Delaney tries the right side. Nobody home. Jerry Johnson is there to shut it off.
The Chargers had run this play before in the first half, and it was effective. They pull a guard, and they try to influence Gary Johnson, having someone go the other way. But that time, Gary Johnson didn't go for the fake on the part of the Chiefs guard, came right back in there and made the stop.
So a loss of 3. It is now 2nd down and 13. The Chargers bring in 5 defensive backs. Williams, Edward Shaw, Allen Ellis, and Willie Buchanan. The Chargers are showing blitz. And they're coming. And it is caught. It is Henry Marshall. The ball is knocked loose. Look at this one. Can you believe your eyes? A flag is down, and a fight is going on. They've got a flag down at the 7-yard line. Another flag down out at the 38-yard line. And you won't see a crazier one than that. Henry Marshall had the football. He coughed it up. J.T. Smith picked it off in midair, just like they practice it every week.
Bill, that was an incredible turn of events. As you mentioned, the Chargers went with their blitz. Henry Marshall beats his man, number 44, Pete Shaw, across the middle. But Shaw comes back up, and watch, he knocks the football loose. That was an intentional deal on his part because he knew he'd beat. He said, I'm going to knock that ball away. But he hits it right to J.T. Smith, who catches the football, goes up the sideline, almost gets away, but Mike Williams, number 29, grabs a hold. And there's 28, Willie Buchanan. And J.T. Smith thought that it was unnecessary, and Buchanan says, no, it wasn't. Let's have a little go at it.
Now let's take another look at it as the officials are still trying to figure out what to do. That play covering a lot of yardage.
Covered 56 yards, and Kenney did a good job of getting it away. Now watch that hit. There, he hit the ball right on the money with the shot to the football. Ball bounces up, and there's J.T. Smith right in his hands. And there's Mike Williams coming up, and you'll see Willie Buchanan comes over the top unintentionally. But he does hit Smith when he's down on the ground. JT's a little upset about it and throws the football at Willie. Then the action starts.
Well, it is a personal foul against San Diego. The Chiefs have the ball at the 3. First and goal, Kansas City. It is Billy Jackson, and he inches it ever so close to the goal line.
Billy Jackson, who was the leading rusher last year at Alabama.
Kansas City leading the AFC in rushing touchdowns. They have 16, trying to make it 17. Pickup of a yard on the play.
Bill Jackson scored 3 TDs last week in Oakland. The Chiefs came from behind to beat them 28-17.
The running backs, Billy Jackson and James Hadnot. Delaney will sit this one out. There you get a good look at Kenney. Second and goal. Play action, Kenney. He's got Billy Jackson.
Touchdowns last week for Billy Jackson. He comes up with one today. He scored them on the run last week. This time, nice play action. Bill Kenney does a good job. Watch here as he takes the ball to Hadnot on the sweep. This is something that you would expect them to do. When they get down this close, they want to run the football, but they change things up. Kenney lost the ball up in the air. Jackson reaches out, grabs it. No one even close to him.
That is only the 3rd time they have thrown to Jackson all year. His first touchdown via the airwaves. Nick Lowry is on. He has not missed a point after yet this year. And that one is perfect. So, 11:55 to play in the 3rd quarter here in San Diego. Kansas City is coming closer. It is now San Diego 19, the Kansas City Chiefs 14. We'll be back. San Diego 19, the Kansas City Chiefs 14, with 11:55 to play in the 3rd period. The Chiefs, 4 plays, covered 56 yards after the fumble recovery, and Lowry knuckleballs this one to James Brooks. He'll take it 2 yards deep. And a good return. He fought for every yard he got. Out to the 20-yard line, Dave Klug is there to tackle him.
Both teams continue to do a very good job with their special teams. There's number 29, Mike Williams, who went off limping on that play before. And the Chargers can ill afford to have this man out of the lineup because they're awfully thin in their defensive secondary.
Now the Chargers are already beat up back there in the defensive secondary. They have used different personnel virtually every week to try and get something going. Clarence Williams in motion. He'll lead the blocking from Muncie. Muncie pickup of about 3. Let's go to New York, Studio 6A and Byron Day. Byron?
Okay, Phil, thank you very much. The New England Patriots are finally on top of the Oakland Raiders. This Sam Cunningham 1-yard touchdown capped a 76-yard drive. The score now in the 3rd quarter, New England 17, Oakland 13. Phil?
The Raiders continue to have their problems, Gene. Who would have ever guessed it? Muncie in motion to the bottom of your screen. 2nd and 6. Dan will put it in the air. Now he has to get out. He goes down as he releases it. The intended receiver, Charlie Joyner, no way. Gary Green on the coverage.
Fouts was trying to get that ball to Charlie Joyner right over the middle, but the Chiefs came up with some good pass coverage. Those linebackers are being very active. Sometimes they'll just drop right back in the middle and try to cut off those lanes. Then other times they'll come up and play a little tighter and even play man-to-man. So they're mixing it up, trying not to give Dan Fouts the same look each time.
The Chargers with a 3rd and 6 situation. They've only converted 2 of 5 third down situations today. 3 wide receivers. Swing it out to Muncie. And he's got the first down.
Fouts was able to get the matchup that he wanted. He got Chuck Muncie man-to-man on number 53, Whitney Paul. And that's really no contest because Muncie has that great speed.
Gene, I'm very, very surprised that the Kansas City Chiefs have not played the bump and run when you see the kind of success the Bears had just a week ago.
Well, Phil, I think it was a little different situation because the Bears really had nothing to lose. And I think they said, we're going to take a chance. Because when you beat the bump and run, it's usually for big gains and touchdowns. And the Kansas City Chiefs are not in that position. They're ahead. So they're going to be a little more conservative.
Fouts, double pump. He's going to go for it. He was looking for Ronnie Smith. He almost found Lloyd Burris.
Bill, number 34, Lloyd Burris, did a very good job that time because he had a man, Ron Smith, who they call Mr. October, I think, out here in San Diego, who has a lot of speed, and you can see them dropping back into their zone defense. Gary Barbaro's in the middle. He reacts to the ball that's thrown. Burris does a good job. He's watching the ball all the way, and he goes up. And the thing that a defender has to be careful about here is he don't want to get that interference call. Played the ball excellent.
Fouts 18 of 28 for 219 yards. 2nd and 10. The ball at the 31. Fouts wants to put it in the air again. He's got a man, Scales, and I think he has it. Now the one official said he had it, the other said he did. All right, while they discuss it, let's go to Byron Day, 1-4 Studio 6A in New York for another update. Byron?
Okay, Phil, in the game in Oakland, the Patriots have just forced a turnover. Roland James picks off this Mark Wilson pass intended for Derek Ramsey. It's batted into the air by Ramsey. He picks it off. The Patriots in great position, leading in the third quarter, 17-13.
We thank you for that update. Boy, the surprises continue around the National Football League on this, the 9th week. 3rd and 10. San Diego. And flanks go down. And a couple of guys jump from Kansas City, and you wonder if it possibly could be whistled against San Diego. Let's take a look.
63 offense. Doug Wilkerson, I think he lifted his hand a little too soon. He drew those Kansas City defensive linemen off. Ball start, 63 offense. 63.
Illegal procedure against the Chargers. Again, a penalty hurts them. At an inopportune time, it was already 3rd and 10. Now it is 3rd and 15. The ball at the 26. 3 wide receivers, Chandler, Scales, and Charlie Joyner. 5 backs for the Chiefs. Fouts unloads across the middle. Charlie Joyner, the intended receiver, and the man applying the pressure, the nose tackle, Ken Kramer.
Bill, the Chargers have run those crossing patterns before, and Charlie Joyner has been open on several situations. He was open that time, but number 91, Ken Kramer, applied the pressure to Dan Fouts. As you can take a look at this secondary, you'll see Joyner coming from your screen left to right as he goes across the middle, and there he's open. Gary Barbaro's trying to close on him, but Ken Kramer forces Fouts to throw the ball sooner than he wants to. The result is an incompletion.
George Roberts will kick it away. J.T. Smith is back to receive it. All the time in the world, no rush at all. Look at this boomer. Holy Toledo. J.T. Smith takes it at the 17. And a good return out across the 30-yard line. Oh, a spectacular punt. 54-yarder, a 14-yard return. The Chiefs have the football, and they'll begin when we come back.
This is Byron Day in New York. In Oakland, the Patriots were in prime position to score after the interception by James, but Grogan forced out of the pocket on 3rd and long and chased to the sidelines. They could not capitalize on the break. The score is still 17-13 in the third.
Thank you very much, Byron. Bill Kenney is 9 of 13, Gene, for 119 yards, but the Chiefs are not able to put points on the board thus far.
Well, they're playing with an awful lot of confidence. They decided to stick with Bill Kenney. Steve Fuller's on the sideline, and they know that he can come in and scramble. But they're playing with a lot of confidence on offense, and you can never count these Chiefs out.
Well, that's for sure. What a dramatic comeback they had last week. Kenney to the air. He's got a man. It is number 81, the backup tight end, Willie Scott. And a flag goes down. What a great job Willie Scott did of breaking a few tackles. Offensive tackle here. I believe it.
Bill, this is a strange situation because I believe it was Willie Scott who was called before for pass interference. And maybe what he's doing is he's running downfield, and the defender's in a stationary position, and maybe he's pushing off. That's the only thing I can think of.
Number 81. Offensive pass interference. Still first down.
I'll tell you, he may have committed a pass interference foul, but look at the tackles this man breaks.
He does a good job of running after he catches the football. He's a young receiver, and he made a mistake that sometimes young players will make. When you run down there and you want to get open, and that guy's standing right there, you tend to run into him and sort of push off and bounce back, but he got caught.
It is Delaney who tries the left side. He brings it out across the 30-yard line. Woody Lowe is there to shut it off. Pickup of about 7 yards on the play. Moves the ball out to the 31. 9 minutes, 53 seconds to play in the third quarter here in San Diego. The Chargers continue to lead at 19-14. Delaney 15 carries for 83 yards.
Bill, number 29, Mike Williams, is out of the ball game for the Chargers. Number 48, Allen Ellis, has come in to take his place.
2nd and 13. Kenney to the air. Double pump. He's going for it. He was looking for J.T. Smith, Willie Buchanan, Pete Shaw, both back there, double covering. Bill Kenney.
Kenny's looking downfield to see what happened on that play. But we take a look at number 81, Willie Scott, as he goes downfield, running the same play, gets down there, makes a hook, now wants to go up again, trying to sucker number 27, Glenn Edwards, in, but Glenn Edwards doesn't really go for it.
It is now 3rd and 13. The ball still resting on the 31-yard line. 9:24 to play, third period. The Chargers, a little different defensive front four alignment. Leroy Jones, Ferguson, Webb, and Johnson. Listen to this crowd. 3rd and 13. Was it intercepted? No, it was not. The ball scooted along the ground. Glenn Edwards was there. Boy, for a guy who just joined this ball club on Thursday, he has done a great job thus far today. And listen to this crowd applaud their defensive team.
But Phil, you'll see the man who makes the play is number 57, Lyndon King, as he shoots through there and forces Kenney out of the pocket. And Bill Kenney just throws the football away rather than take the loss. And Glenn Edwards almost comes up with interception. He short hops it, though.
Now, Glenn Edwards, a money ball player. They released him in the preseason. This one's bounced back to Grubb. No rush. He gets it away and gets away a pretty good one. A fair catch by Wes Chandler. And the Chargers will begin in good field position out at the 34-yard line. And I have to believe Wes Chandler now knows he had room to run the football. 9:11 to play in the third period. We'll be back in just a moment. Here come the Chargers. They have the football and the lead at the 34-yard line. Clarence Williams, James Brooks, the running backs. Brooks near side. And he runs into Art Still after picking up 3 yards. Let's take a look at some scores. Game still in progress. Third quarter, New England over Oakland, as you've seen a couple of updates from New York. And Philadelphia stepping it out over Dallas 14-3. Detroit continues to lead Los Angeles 13-7. And Washington continuing to shut out the St. Louis Cardinals 21-0. That game in Washington, D.C. Right here, it is a 19-14 San Diego lead. Kellen Winslow is in motion. Draw play to Chuck Muncie. He breaks a couple of tackles and is out near the first down. Jerry Quentin finally brings him down.
Not only does Chuck Muncie break these tackles, as I mentioned before, he's playing with a cast on his left hand, but watch the way, when he gets up in that action, he makes sure that he holds on to the football. Look, 2 guys reaching out, trying to pull the ball away, but Muncie wisely wraps it up, holds on to it. That's the sign of experience.
Now Chuck Muncie, 6'3", 218 pounds. 11 carries, 47 yards today, and 2 touchdowns. Third and about a half yard. Clarence Williams, a good second effort. He has the first down. Lloyd Burris shot Bergine, and I thought he had him, but he could not hold on.
Well, Clarence Williams did a good job of running the football, but he got a little help from number 46. Look at this block. Once he not only runs the ball and catches it, but he makes a good block there on number 34, and he pulls him a little bit just to make sure he doesn't get in the play. Matter of fact, that was the first carry today by number 40, Clarence Williams.
Now they call him CW here in San Diego. A first down at the 45, and Dan wants to go upstairs. Double pump. Sideline
Interception. Interception.
Right into the hands of Gary Green. And you called that one about 5 seconds before he ran under it.
Well, the Chiefs drop back into their zone defense, and number 24, Gary Green, who was an all-pro player, he doesn't take this fake at all. As a matter of fact, Fouts really shouldn't have thrown this football because Green did not come up with a fake. He put the ball up in the air. He had already decided he was going to throw the football. The result is an interception on the part of 24, Gary Green. We'll be right back.
Your day is long and your work is hard.
There you take a look at some of the crazies here in San Diego. A capacity crowd for the 24th straight game. Kansas City with the football after the interception by Dan Fouts, the 4th turnover for San Diego today. And a bunch of Chargers jump, and you have to wonder if it's illegal procedure against Kansas City. I think they're going to finally call Kenney for that. Well, we have a minute. Let's take a look at the play that gave Kansas City the football. A pass interference that Gene called almost before the Chargers broke out of the huddle.
You could just see Fouts make a good pump fake, but the Chiefs don't take the fake at all. They're sitting back in their zone defense. And number 24, Gary Green, it looks as though he's the intended receiver. It makes a good catch just before he goes out of bounds.
The penalty, illegal procedure. It was against Bill Kenney. Kenney playing his high school football right up the coast here, about 30 miles in San Clemente. Kenney 9 of 15 for 1 touchdown. Give right up the middle.
How about the number 37, Joe Delaney?
That ball game in Philadelphia is now in the 4th quarter. Eagles over the Cowboys 14-3. And another update, Washington has put another one on the board. It is now 28-0 over Jim Hannafin's Cardinals in the 3rd period. Here it is 2nd down and 12. The ball on the 16-yard line. The Chargers with 5 defensive backs. Kenney pressure, and John Woodcock brings him down. Lyndon Kane was there to put the finishing touches on him.
Number 90, John Woodcock, coming in to make that play. He's not a big player for a defensive end, but he's very active. And he's all over the play, all over the field, and he uses his quickness very well. Here we get a shot of number 81, Willie Scott, as he's trying to fight off Lyndon King, and he doesn't do a very good job of it because King does his job, and he keeps number 81 out of the action.
Here come the Chiefs. It is 3rd and 12. The ball at the 16. Blitz. Kenney has time, and he drops it right over the linebacker. J.T. Smith has the football. A forward lateral to Henry Marshall, and a flag goes down. That is illegal.
That is illegal. J.T. Smith made an excellent move, but then he took it all away when he made that lateral. Watch this. You can see the defense. Watch this move right at the top of your screen. Look at that fake. Oh! J.T. Smith leaves his man at the line of scrimmage, comes downfield, gets the ball. Now, he's trying to lateral the ball right here, and this is where he makes the mistake. Forward. 5-yard penalty. It's ahead of, clearly, Henry Marshall is in front of him, and that's a penalty.
All right, the call is forward lateral against the Kansas City Chiefs. However, it is still a first down. They are now out to the 30-yard line. 1st and 10, 5 minutes, 34 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. Pitch, Delaney, right side. And he does not turn that corner. Leroy Jones is there to shut it off.
The Chiefs had been successful in the first quarter running to their offensive right against Leroy Jones and Lyndon King. Here in the second half, they're not getting anything because they're shutting it down. There he is, number 68. Big Leroy Jones. And he comes off the field after making an excellent play.
Delaney, 17 carries now for 87 yards. It is second down. Call it 9. The ball at the 31. Kenney, near side. He has got Henry Marshall. And he sheds one block and runs for the first down. Alan Ellis had a shot at him, which would have been short of the first down. Marshall simply broke right through it.
Henry Marshall is one of those long striding receivers. He's got good size for an outside receiver. And these guys have gotten so much better in the last year than they were before. Both J.T. Smith and Henry Marshall have turned out to be excellent wide receivers.
Joe Delaney, James Hadnot, the running backs, the wide receivers, Henry Marshall. Wide to the left, J.T. Smith to the top of your screen. Delaney takes it inside. Big hand Johnson brings him down to pick up a possibly one. Gene, do you suppose the Kansas City Chiefs fully understand the scope of where they are and what they have accomplished so far this year?
Well, I'm sure they do. As I mentioned before, they're a maturing team. They have lots of players now that play together for 3 or 4 years, particularly on defense. They've been very good in the last few years on defense. Now their offense has come of age. They're leading in the AFC West. They put a lot of pressure on the Chargers, and that's something that no other team has done before.
Second and 9. Kenney. Oh, and he's got his tight end. Willie Scott is on his feet to the San Diego 30-yard line before the outside linebacker on the left side, Lyndon King, can shoot back to bring him down. A big pickup. Gain of 21 yards on the play. Boy, the coolness of Bill Kenney.
But Willie Scott this time gets away from number 57, Lyndon King, and he breaks loose, and he leaves King following, who almost falls down, and he catches that football and turns up the sideline. And you can see Lyndon King comes up and tries to make up for it by knocking the ball loose, but he just simply misses.
Another first down for Kansas City. On the San Diego 30. 2 minutes, 40 seconds to play in the third quarter. Counter play to Hadnot. And a good job by Willie Buchanan fighting off the block of Henry Marshall to bring him down. Another update out of Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The Dallas Cowboys have finally put a touchdown on the board. Danny White said Doug Cosby's good for 17 yards and a touchdown, but the Eagles still lead that one now in the fourth period, 14-10.
Number 29, Mike Williams, is down on the ground, injured for the second time.
And we'll be back in just a moment when play resumes.
There's number 29, Mike Williams, who's come off the field. When he made that tackle, you'll see that he dives out and tries to make the tackle with his arm, but he lands on his back, and he's having some problems with the small of his back. Makes that play, but he has to come to the sideline.
A pickup of 6 for the Chiefs. It is second and 2. It is James Hadnot, and he has more than enough for the first down. That was the 20th first down for the Chiefs today.
Number 58, Jack Rudney, the veteran in the middle of that line. He gets a good block on Bob Horn. Hadnot runs right up the middle, holds on to the football as number 44, Pete Shaw, comes up, makes the tackle.
First and 10, the Chiefs have the football, and they are marching again. On the 15. Delaney. And look at the way that guy runs that ball. Sheer power for a guy that is only 5'10" and goes 184 yards. You think he's excited?
He has no fear whatsoever. As we take a look from the end zone, and he's coming right at us, he runs right up in the action. He's not afraid of anything. And with his quickness, he gets in that hole very early. Look at that, 100 yards and 19 rushes.
Yeah, we have seen him a couple of times before this year. The game he had against the Oakland Raiders 4 weeks ago in Kansas City. He played a spectacular football game, and he's done so thus far today. First and goal, Chiefs. Had not. They'll move it close to the 4.
Bill, by the way, number 37, Joe Delaney, gaining 100 yards today. That's his 4th game in 100 yards or more.
Well, I'll tell you, I suppose we should not be surprised the way he ran the football to Northwest Louisiana. We talked about it earlier. A career 3,000 yards in college. Wiped out Pittsburgh Steelers running back Sidney Thornton's record down there. Averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Second and goal. Had not. Moves it to the 2. And again, Gene, we're seeing the same kind of Kansas City Chiefs team we saw last week at Oakland, a team that continues to stay fired up and never says die. Just come back and play football.
Well, they're coming back, and they're coming back awfully strong. That time they came back with the same running play, giving the ball to Hadnot, and they're running right over Jack Rudney and Brad Buddy on the left side of their line. And also number 60, who's probably the strongest man on the offensive line, Matt Herkenhoff.
6 seconds to play here in the third period. They may not get another play off, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs will be content to try and put this one on the board at the other end of the football field. We have played 3 here in San Diego. At the end of the third quarter, San Diego 19, Kansas City 14. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Bill Stone with Gene Washington as we are set to begin quarter number 4. It has been an outstanding ball game, the type of game, Gene, we thought it would be.
Well, these Chiefs have come back in the second half, and they're a never-say-die team. As I mentioned before, their offense has really come to life under Bill Kenney this year. They also have number 4, Steve Fuller, who's a great scrambler. The defense now has an awful lot of confidence in this offensive ball club. This is a key situation right here.
Third and goal, Kansas City. Play action. Kenney rolls right. He tried to hit Henry Marshall. He could not hold on.
Bill, this was an excellent call from the sideline to get your quarterback rolling out. It gives him plenty of time to find his man. He finds Henry Marshall in the end zone, and he zips the ball in there, but Marshall just can't hold on. You can see that he has the ball just for a second, the ball goes away.
And there you see Willie Buchanan at the bottom of your screen holding his right knee. He is being assisted from the field now. He's walking on it, so that is indeed a good sign for San Diego Charger fans. It is 4th and goal. Nick Lowry is on. It is 19-14. This would make it a 19-17 ball game. Fuller's hold. Lowry's kick is up. Perfect. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs have now drawn within 2 of the San Diego Chargers. 14:50 to play on this ball game. San Diego continues to lead it 19-17. With Nick Lowry's 21-yard field goal, look at this. The Kansas City Chiefs have outscored their opponents 75-30 in the 4th quarter. And Lowry is set to kick it away once more. And this is a good one. At the 5, Wes Chandler. And his horse collared at the 18-yard line. That's where the Chargers will begin this series. You know, San Diego, they are no slouch either in the 4th period. 86 points for the Chargers, 39 for their opponents. Something's got to give.
Couldn't ask for a better football game. Both of these teams have done very well. The Chiefs continue to come back, coming back last week from a deficit of 17 points to win against Oakland 28-17, and they've come back here in the second half.
First and 10 from the 18. Counter. That's Chuck Muncie. And he'll pick up a yard, possibly 2. Don Parrish almost got him back around the 15-yard line.
Number 91, Ken Kramer, was the guy reaching out, stuck his hand out there, getting past the center, Don Masick. trying to grab a hold of Chuck Muncie. The coaches love to have a guy around like a Chuck Muncie who's big and can run the football, but as we keep mentioning, he is an outstanding receiver. And in this this Charger offense, you have to be a good receiver if you're going to play for them in that backfield.
2nd and 8 from the 20. Play action. Fouts. To Winslow. And look at the move he tried to put on Whitney Paul. Paul stayed with it, to his credit. Waited for Gary Barbaro to come up and help him out, and they both hammered Kellen Winslow to the ground. Pickup of about 4. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Let's call it 3rd and 4 at the 25.
Well, Dan tries to draw everyone to his left, and then he comes back to his right, gets the ball out to Winslow. Now he's trying to make some moves, but Whitney Paul's right there. Here's a guy that used to play a down lineman. Shows pretty good agility as he doesn't go for the fakes and makes a tackle. And as you mentioned, gets a little help from Gary Barbaro.
Chargers 4 of 8 today in the 3rd down department. 3rd and 3. Fouts. Poorly thrown ball. And you can hear the crowd react. James Brooks was trying to get to it. Whitney Paul was there on the coverage. And that'll bring George Roberts onto the field. He's averaging about 45 yards a kick today.
Well, there's no question where Dan Fouts is going with this pass. He takes a quick 5-step drop and throws it out into the flats. And number 21, James Brooks. Let's take a look at the reaction. Oh, boy, disappointment. He knows that he threw that football in the wrong place because Brooks really had no chance to get it.
4th and 3. Roberts has a good snap, no rush. He has 161-yarder, and he gets another good one. J.T. Smith at the 29. And he runs right into Pete Shaw at the 37-yard line. So again, the Kansas City Chiefs have the football, and boy, they know what to do with it in the second half. We'll be back with more. Here come the Kansas City Chiefs. They have the football at the 37-yard line. They trail San Diego by 2, 19-17. Delaney and Hadnot. And Kenney wants to put it up. Pressured. Gary Johnson has done an absolutely spectacular job this afternoon, Gene.
Bill Kenney is trying to get a screen. You can see the center, Jack Rudney, go out to his left. But to no avail as Gary Johnson gets in there, applies the pressure, and he is playing awfully quick football today.
For a guy 6'3", 252 pounds, he has the speed and quickness of a cat. That's the guy we're talking about. There's a couple of people who think an awful lot of Gary Johnson. 2nd down and 18. The ball now at the 29. Draw play. Delaney. And he fights and scratches and claws out to about the 35-yard line before Lyndon King wraps him up. Take a look at some scores around the league. The late ball game. And the 4th period. Look at this one. New England 17, Oakland 13. Dallas continues to lead Philadelphia 17-14. Los Angeles has come back against Detroit 14-13 in the 4th quarter. Washington continues to lead the Cardinals 35-7. And listen to this crowd here. 3rd and 12. Big play for the Charger defense. Well, they had him. And to Bill Kenney's credit, he scrambles his way 17 yards for a first down at the 48.
Bill, you're exactly right. The Chargers do a good job in the pass coverage. As you can see, their zone defense. Kenney avoids the rush, and he runs right up the middle and figures out where he has to go for the first down. Does a hook slide, and he makes it by about 2 yards.
A big key first down for these Kansas City Chiefs. 11 minutes to play in this ball game. The Chiefs driving. They trail by 2. Delaney and Hadnot out of the I formation. Second man, Delaney left side. And he picks up 8 yards on the play. Pete Shaw, the strong safety, finally pounced on him.
Well, he ran that football right behind number 66, Brad Buddy, and number 60, Matt Herkenhoff. That's 114 yards today for and on 21 rushes for Joe Delaney.
What a job he has done. Second down and 1, the ball at the 43.
The head knock.
Bob Horn, middle linebacker, brings him down as the Kansas City Chiefs continue to try and eat the clock away. Let's go to New York and Byron Day.
Phil, just north of you in the Bay Area, the Raiders have moved out in front of the New England Patriots. Mark Wilson, a 14-yard touchdown pass to Cliff Branch. Score now in the fourth quarter. Oakland 20, the Patriots 17. Phil?
Well, thank you very much, Byron Day. Oakland Raiders doing to New England what the Chiefs did to the Raiders last weekend. Delaney, right side, fumble. It is recovered by Kansas City. Louis Kelcher knocked it away. Pete Shaw was right there. Leroy Jones was there. Tom Condon, the right guard, recovered it for Kansas City.
Delaney was trying to do what he does so often. That's hit up in the middle and bounce outside. But Louis Kelcher just reaches out and knocks the ball away, and no one can seem to find it. But Tom Condon sees it, and he pounces on it.
Keith Ferguson is back in the ball game on the defensive line for the Chargers. Ferguson, Johnson, Kelcher, and Jones. Second down and 12. The ball at the 37. Play action. Kenney will put it up. It is knocked away. What a job Glenn Edwards did. Willie Scott, the intended receiver, and Gene. That Glenn Edwards picked that one off. It was goodbye.
Bill Kenney made a mistake. Oftentimes a young player will do this. He zeroed in on number 81, Willie Scott, all the way. You can see he's watching him all the way. But Glenn Edwards sees it. He sees him jump in front and almost comes up with the interception. Had he gotten this football, it would have been sayonara. It would have been 6 points.
It is remarkable. Glenn Edwards has played so well today. He was in Miami, Florida, visiting relatives since being waived by the Chargers. A friend, in fact, told him the Chargers had called earlier this week, and Glenn didn't believe him. Third and 12, big play for Kansas City. Knocked away, a flag goes down to some of the interference against Buchanan. Or Mike Williams. It is Mike Williams on the far side.
And that's Stan Rome, I think number 87, who got that interference call. Bill, I think the problem is, if you take a look at this secondary, I think the problem is you'll see that Mike Williams gets back in the sun, and I don't think he sees that football when it arrives. You can see that both players now are in the bright sunlight. That's a very difficult thing to see that football. And Mike Williams just runs right into him. No question about that call.
Well, Kansas City is rolling up the first downs. They now have 26. And I'll tell you, this, Gene, another critical third down play for the Chiefs. The first one they got on a big scramble by Kenney, and that one a pass interference against the San Diego Chargers. First and 10, the ball at the 23. Billy Jackson through the left side for a few. Lyndon King is there. Leroy Jones is in the bottom of that pile.
Bill, the Chiefs continue to do what they want to do, and that's to move the football downfield, eat up time on the clock. This is what they've done so successfully, and Bill Kenney is doing a superb job. They came back last week against Oakland, although it was Steve Fuller who came in to lead it. You can see the clock. That's 8 minutes ticking down. They still have the football. They're eating up their clock, and if they get a touchdown here, they're going to put an awful lot of pressure on the Chargers.
Or even a field goal would give them the lead. Second and 6. Trap play. The ball was given to Billy Jackson. Lyndon King sniffed it out and brought him down. A loss of a yard.
What a job 57 Lyndon King has done today. Coming into today's ball game, he had 79 tackles. That's an awful lot of tackles. That includes the solos and the assists.
Now he also has a couple of sacks, an interception. Not bad for number 57, who came into this ball game suffering from a very, very bad cold. Here's another guy who doesn't feel very good, Rolf Panersha. He missed an extra point earlier in this ball game. Third and 6. Near side, Delaney. And he'll be awfully close to the first down, but I believe he will be on pitch guy.
The Chargers 14-yard line.
So now A decision, and I don't think it's much of a decision. You've got to go for the three. It'll give you the lead, Gene.
Well, particularly when you have a field goal kicker like Nick Lowry. For him, this should be a chip shot. He has a very strong leg, and he's very accurate.
Lowry 13 of 19 this year. This one will be from 32 yards away. And the whistle sounds. Timeout, Kansas City. Lowry will spot this one from 32. He is 5 for 5 from between the 30 and 39.
Steve Fuller called that timeout. He saw something that he didn't like out there. Maybe there was an overload, and he decided to take the timeout and go over to the sideline and discuss it with the head coach, Marv Levy.
Next Saturday, Johnny Rutherford returns to the site of his horrendous crash last year to compete in the Kart Phoenix 150. Challenging him will be Indy 500 champion Bobby Unser, Rick Mears, and Al Unser, as well as that tricky Phoenix Oval. Plus, bulging biceps abound. Some of the most muscular men and women in the world need to see who's cut out to be the mixed pairs world bodybuilding champions. That's all next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. 6 minutes, 36 seconds to play on this ball game. San Diego leads it 19-17. Kansas City marching very, very effectively. In fact, Gene, the Chargers have only had the ball 1 minute and 43 seconds of the fourth quarter. Kansas City has had it almost 8 minutes.
Well, that's their game plan, to hold on to that football on offense, eat up the clock, and march toward the goal line. And now they're in a situation to take the lead. Nick Lowry holds true to form. He should make this one.
From the 32. It is perfect. Nick Lowry is now 6 for 6 between the 30 and 39-yard line. It gives the Kansas City Chiefs a 20-19 lead over the San Diego Chargers. Bill Stone with Gene Washington. 6 minutes, 32 seconds to play on this ball game. Kansas City has had the ball for 13 plays. San Diego only 4 plays in the fourth period. And Lowry puts a squibber, and it's out of bounds, and a flag flies. We'll kick this one again.
But he'll kick it from 5 yards further back.
You know, interestingly enough, both teams have converted 3 of 9 third down situations. Coming into this ball game, San Diego had converted an even 50%. The Kansas City Chiefs 46%. So both clubs are not playing well in third down situations. Los Angeles has come back to take the lead over the Detroit Lions 17-13 in the fourth period up in Anaheim. So Lowry will now put this one down at the 30-yard line. And you've got to believe that Lowry will again try to keep the football away from Brooks, who is fourth in the AFC in kickoff returns. He's averaging almost 27 yards every time he puts his hands on the football.
But number 86, the other guy back there, Wes Chandler's no slouch.
And this time he finds Brooks from the 9. And he's out across the 25-yard line. And San Diego will start 75 yards away from the goal line as Dan Fouts trots back onto the field. 6 minutes, 17 seconds to play. Fouts 19 of 33, 224 yards, 1 interception. He has yet to throw a touchdown today. That is very unusual for number 14.
And he leads the NFL in touchdowns with 19. But he's got plenty of time to go on that clock.
Near side, Muncie. Oh, again, the Kansas City Chiefs team playing outstanding football in the second half.
Well, they're doing what they did last week because they came from behind to beat Oakland. And as I said, they're a maturing team. These guys are all about 4 or 5 years each now on defense, and they're really playing together. The offense has come along, and they're playing exciting football.
You know, the last time the Kansas City Chiefs were in first place was way back in 1971.
Jack Rudney came out the same year I did in 1969. Was the only player on that team. Fouts for CW, and he throws behind him again. Listen to the fans. What happens in a situation, I've seen this before, when you have a quarterback who is as good as Dan Fouts, and he doesn't throw the ball on the money all the time, people get a little disappointed. But you can't expect a guy to be great all of the time. If he's not having a good ball game, you stick with him because he's the guy that got you to where you are. And I'll tell you what, if I have a football team and I can have a quarterback, I'd sure take number 14, Dan Fouts.
There's no question in my mind. He's 19 of 34 today for 224 yards. On 3rd and 7 to Joyner. And he holds on. Jerry Green brings him down, and the Chargers have a first down.
Joyner made a good play in that. The Chiefs were in their nickel defense. Number 20, Deron Cherry, came over. As you can see from this shot, you can see Deron Cherry coming over in the middle of the screen. But Joyner's going to come through. He catches that ball right in the middle and does a wise thing. When he grabs that football, he gets two hands on it, makes sure he doesn't turn it loose.
1st and 10 from the 38. It is Muncie. He tries the right side. He'll gain a couple. Jerry Blanton comes up from his inside linebacker spot to bring him down. The clock continues to run here in San Diego. 4:43 to play in this ball game. Kansas City leads it thanks to a 32-yard field goal from Nick Lowry.
Well, this game could come down to a field goal attempt by Rolf Bernerschke.
One of the telling tales in this ball game, Charlie Joyner, only 2 receptions today. As you take a look at Rolf Bernerschke, Muncie, the right side. And what a block by Wilkerson. And that got him an extra couple of yards.
Big number 63, Doug Wilkerson, using that excellent speed that he has. He got out in front, provided a good block for Muncie, but number 26, Gary Barbaro, came up and made the tackle.
What discipline exhibited by Chuck Muncie. He could have blasted on around. You saw him kind of hesitate and allow Wilkerson to get out in front.
Well, if you're going to run the football, I'd like to have someone out in front like Doug Wilkerson. Look at him, number 63. He has good speed, and he turns up. Look at that block. Ooh, he really delivers a blow. But there's number 26, Gary Barbaro, who comes up to make the stop on Muncie.
3rd and 2. Big play. Fouts. Pressure. Unloads it. What a job he did. What a job. As Dan Fouts was on his way down, he unloads it. Kevin Winslow.
That was just a tremendous effort. As I said before, you can't knock a guy who's not right on target all the time, because a great quarterback will come back and make a play like this. Look, he finds nothing. He stands in the pocket. He doesn't run out. Then he finds he's going down. Now look at this. He throws the football falling back. Winslow gets the football, has enough presence of mind to know that he has to hold his ground to pick up that first down.
Kellen, 6 receptions, 36 yards. A first down for San Diego at the 48. 2:55 to play. Double reverse. Watch this one. Wes Chandler will be brought down. What a job. Dave Lindstrom sniffed it out. He stayed with Chandler beautifully. And that's a play we have not seen the Chargers try all year.
Well, they give the ball here to Wes Chandler, who has excellent speed. Muncie takes it on a sweep. He hands it off to number 86. But number 71, Dave Lindstrom, doesn't go for the fake, and he does a wise thing. He makes the running back go inside. Chandler tried to fake him and go outside, but he held his ground. Ended up making a stop.
A loss of 11 yards. The man who made the stop, Dave Lindstrom, was originally drafted by San Diego in 1977. Fouts needs a big one here. To Muncie. He bobbles the football for about 5 yards, but he held on.
Again, Fouts makes a play out of nothing. He throws the ball just over the head. And look, Muncie reaches up and knocks the football down, sort of brings it into him with that hand that has a cast on it. That's an outstanding effort on the part of Chuck Muncie. He's a great athlete. But again, Fouts turns a broken play into a positive game.
A pickup of 17 yards. It is now 3rd and 4. 2 minutes, 4 seconds to play. And San Diego will use one of its 3 timeouts as Dan Fouts comes to the near sideline to talk things over with Don Coryell. We, too, will take a break. Kansas City leads this one 20-19 with 2:04 to play. This is a big one. It is 3rd and 4. The ball at the 42. 2:04 to play. San Diego trails by 1. James Brooks. And Charles Jackson brings him down. A big defensive play for the Chiefs, and what a decision Don Coryell has now, Gene Washington.
Well, I think everyone in the stands expected the Chargers to throw the football. They changed things up by trying to run it, but they didn't fool the Chiefs as they stop them for a big loss.
We are in line for a tremendous finish here today. Now let's take time out as we are at the 2-minute warning to take a look back at another fantastic finish. The Chargers, there is no choice to be made. They have got to go for it. It is 4th and 8 from the 47. 1:57 to play in this ball game. Kansas City leads it by 1. Fouts. Doubt about that one. That is the biggest catch Wes Chandler has made since he has been a San Diego Charger. And that, Gene, was possibly the biggest play of the season thus far for the Chargers.
Had they not made that, it would have been all over. But Fouts comes back in a pressure situation, and he delivers the ball right on the money to Wes Chandler.
A first down for San Diego at the 25. The flag goes down. The ball is given to Clarence Williams. As whistles sound, Dave Lindstrom is there to shut him down. Illegal procedure against the San Diego Chargers. 1:14 to play, and the clock is stopped. 2 timeouts remaining for each ball club. What a clutch play by Dan Fouts.
Dan Fouts and Wes Chandler. The Chiefs decided to be a little conservative. They didn't come up and challenge the receivers. They decided to make them earn it on the catch. Wes Chandler came up with the catch.
Illegal procedure against the Chargers.
Number 67, Ed White, the guilty party.
1:14 to play on this ball game. Chandler 2 receptions today for 46 yards. As the partisan crowd comes to its feet here. 1st and 15. Double pump. Screen pass to Brooks. Gary Barbaro finally bringing down at the 13-yard line. A first down for San Diego. Gary Barbaro is very, very slow getting up. He's up now. He's walking around. He'll be all right. A first down for San Diego at the Kansas City 12-yard line.
Fouts continues to perform under pressure. You see, he makes a fake out to the right, comes back to his left, gets the ball out to Brooks on the screen, and Brooks turns on the speed. Breaks the tackle or 2, and there's Barbaro coming up. Gets help from number 44, Eric Harris. They bring him down. Now in this situation, what are the Chargers going to do? They're going to keep it on the ground and go for the field goal, or will they throw the ball in the end zone, try to get the 6 points?
I got to believe, Gene, they'll keep it on the ground, not only to try and get the field goal, which is all they would need to win the ball game, but you want to try and run some more time off that clock, because Kansas City can put points on the board very, very quickly. While we have this timeout, let's go to New York and Byron Day.
Still a very exciting ball game there. An exciting one also in Oakland. The Raiders have just put a little space between themselves and the Patriots. Watch this. Grogan scrambling out of the pocket. Cedric Hardman knocks the ball loose. Willie Jones picks it up. The Raiders have 7 points on the scoreboard. 27-17 in the 4th.
Here in San Diego, the drama unfolds. 1:06 to play. Bill Stone and Gene Washington. Kansas City leads this one 20-19. San Diego is moving. Muncy. He turns the corner and is bumped out of bounds at the 10. For those of you who have just joined us, the score is Kansas City 20, the Chargers 19. Casper's Halloween, followed by Here's Boomer, will be seen immediately following this football game. So don't go away. Stay right here.
There it is, 1 minute left in the ball game. It may come down to the foot of Rolf Panerska.
Dan Fouts has thrown for 297 yards today. He has 22 300-yard performances behind only John Yonanis and Sonny Jurgensen. But I'm sure he could care less about statistics and records today. Clarence Williams spins, turns, and fights his way to the 5. Gary Spaney brings him down. Fourth-year man out of Kansas State coming into today's game. He had 79 tackles. The clock continues to run. 41, 40, 39. A third down situation for San Diego. They're 5 of 12 today. Rolf Panerska watching on the near sideline.
Panerska missed that extra point early in the game, and he'd love to come into this situation and win it for his team.
Clarence Williams to the 4. And the clock continues to roll, and now they stop it. With 16 seconds to play, it'll be fourth down for San Diego. And we'll be right back in just a moment. A tremendous finish here in San Diego. Don't go away from this one. Bill Stone and Gene Washington back with you as a capacity crowd here in San Diego. We'll watch Rolf Panerska try what would be the go-ahead touchdown from 22 yards away. Ed Luther will hold it. It's down. Has just given his San Diego Chargers a 22-20 lead with that 22-yard field goal. It is now 13 seconds to play as Dylan Winslow is helped off the field. Right now, let's go to Byron Day in Studio 6A. Byron?
Phil, a happy ending there in San Diego. Not such a happy ending in Philadelphia. Watch this. Tony Franklin missing this 34-yard field goal. Hits the upright off to the left. That would have tied the game with the Cowboys. Instead, the Cowboys win it 17-14. Phil?
Thank you very much, Byron. Here in San Diego, the fans are dancing in the aisles. 13 seconds to play. And I don't know what happened. A whistle sounded just as Rolf was coming up to the ball.
Still, everyone was starting to get on number 14, Dan Fouts, the quarterback. But he came back in fine fashion, and he showed them what he's made of as he directed this ball club down the field. There he is, number 14, an excellent football game.
Well, the big play on 4th and 8. The big play to Wes Chandler. Gave the Chargers life deep in Kansas City territory. They drove it all the way down to the 14-yard line. They were stopped there, and Rolf Panerska booted it right through, and that gave the Chargers a 22-20 lead. Dan Fouts, 24 of 39 for 297 yards.
right over the mark.
Well, as we talked about all day long, this was a must-win for the San Diego Chargers. They trailed the Kansas City Chiefs by 1 game coming into this affair. Kansas City was 4-1 in the conference. San Diego was 2-1. A loss by San Diego would have put them at 2-2. The Chiefs would have gone to 5-1. Kansas City with 3 wide receivers, all of them on the near side. Marshall Smith and Stan Rome. 10 seconds to play. Kenney puts it up. It is knocked away. Ron Edwards, and we've called his number all day long. He was there to knock it away. If the Chargers hold on to win this ball game, this is the way the AFC will look. Kansas City and San Diego tie. The Denver Broncos play the Minnesota Vikes tomorrow. Oakland and Seattle round out the AFC West. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Don Ohlmeyer. The coordinating producer, Ted Nathanson. Today's telecast produced by Michael Wiseman, directed by Richard Klein, the technical director, Wayne McDonald, associate director, Jim Marcioni. And what a job you have done, gentlemen, and we thank you. 3 seconds to play. Kenney lets it fly. J.T. Smith with the reception. It is Henry Marshall with the football, and time has expired. You talk about fantastic finishes. You haven't seen one any better than you saw this afternoon, Gene. What a finish.
Look at this, number 86, J.T. Smith comes up with this football. I don't know how he does it. He has the presence of mind to know that he needs to try to get rid of the football. Watch, he rattles the ball to number 89, Henry Marshall, who tries to get out of bounds so they can try to get the field goal.
What a finish. The San Diego Chargers with a 22-yard field goal from Ross Benesco win it 22-20. We'll be right back.